Welcome to Factly, the place of interesting and unusual facts. Top 10 facts about sea otters. The sea otter is a member of the weasel family and can be found in the waters of North America and Asia along the shores of the Pacific Ocean. The sea otter spends the majority of its life in the water. Nevertheless, it does venture onto land to sleep or rest in certain spots. Sea otters are able to stay warm and dry thanks to their water-repellent coats, their ears and nostrils that close when they're submerged in the water, and those cute webbed paws. I hope you're ready to learn about one of Earth's cutest creatures, so let's jump right into number 1 with sea otters are one of the only marine animals that use tools. These clever creatures will use a rock to crack open all of their favorite foods because those must be cracked open in order to eat that delicious inside. Even yet, sea otters will store these rock tools for later use in a little pouch behind their armpit. Sea otters will come back to the surface to eat after their hunt on the ocean floor. And an otter will frequently use a rock to break open its prey while floating on its back and utilizing its abdomen as a table, especially if the meal is a crab, a clam, or even a mussel. The rock and Dungeness crabs are the most typical prey for California sea otters. The southern sea otters in California don't eat fish like their northern counterparts do in Alaska. That brings me to number 2. Sea otters are the only otters that give birth in the water. While the children are carried on their backs, the mothers provide care for them. They nurse the babies while holding them on their chests and quickly teach them how to swim and hunt after that. The sea otter does not need to emerge from the water at any point throughout its existence. And while northern sea otter pups in Alaska are often born in the spring, southern sea otters are able to breed and have pups any time of the year. A newborn puppy has an insatiable demand for attention and will remain with the mother for the first 6 months of its life until it learns how to fend for itself. A curious thing about otters is because their fur is so dense when they're young, they are actually unable to swim underwater until they have their adult fur. This comes in handy when mothers leave their offspring to securely float on the surface of the water while they go out and search for food. Number 3. Did you know its fur is the densest of any animal on Earth? Their coat has anything from 600,000 to 1 million hair follicles packed into every square inch of its surface. Just to put that number in perspective, only about 100,000 hairs cover the entirety of our heads. Otters, in contrast to other marine animals, do not have a layer of blubber. Instead, they rely on the insulation provided by that thick, water-resistant fur to help them keep warm. Sea otters spend a significant portion of their days grooming and maintaining that fur in order to retain their body heat. This causes the air and heat to become trapped adjacent to their skin. Staying on the subject of the fur, let's go to number 4, which is they are obsessed with cleaning their fur. When a sea otter's fur is dirty, it is more difficult for the animal to absorb the air that is necessary to keep warm. Because of this, sea otters are extremely meticulous about maintaining the cleanliness of their fur, and they groom themselves virtually non-stop whenever they are not feeding or sleeping. Because of this, oil spills have the potential to have a greater impact on sea otters than any other marine animal. Oil that gets on their fur can cause them to die from hypothermia. So now it should make sense that because they lack blubber, sea otters must regularly groom themselves in order to keep that insulating and water-repellent characteristic of their fur in great condition. Number 5. Most sea otters call Alaska home. The coastal regions of Alaska are home to around 90% of the world's sea otters. The waters around public properties like the Kodiak National Wildlife Refuge, Kenai Fjords National Park, and Glacier Bay National Park are home to a large population of these marine animals. The habitat of the southern sea otter extends from San Mateo County to Santa Barbara County, as well as San Nicolas Island, which is located off the coast of mainland California. After being hunted to the brink of extinction by fur traders in the 18th and 19th century, the few remaining sea otters were given protection for the first time in 1911 by the International Fur Seal Treaty. At the time, there were approximately 2,000 individuals dispersed across remnant colonies located all along the North Pacific Rim. The Marine Mammal Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act, both of which were enacted in the 1970s, provided extra safeguards for sea otters living in the United States. Number 6. Sea otters are considered keystone species in their ecosystems. Ecologists have known for a long time that the diversity of an ecosystem is directly related to the stability of that ecosystem. The seminal discovery that took place in the 1960s brought about a tidal change in the way that scientists thought about biodiversity and the interrelationships that exist between different species. Robert Payne, who was a young researcher at the University of Washington at the time, demonstrated that there are certain species that have the ability to significantly alter the diversity of the communities in which they live, and whose extinction could result in a chain reaction of ecological devastation. These were referred to by him as a keystone species. Similar to polar bears in the Arctic, sea otters have a significant impact on the habitats in which they live. For example, they consume a significant amount of sea urchins, which in turn consume a significant amount of kelp. Kelp forests, which are essential to the ecosystem, are able to flourish when sea otters keep the population of sea urchins under control. Number 7. Otters need to consume a lot of food each day. Simply maintaining its body temperature requires the sea otter to consume between 25 and 40% of its body weight on a daily basis. In order to maintain the same weight, a person weighing 150 pounds would need to consume between 35 and 40 pounds of food each day. Sea otters get their nutrition from a variety of foods, including sea urchins, crabs, mussels, and clams, all of which they split open with rocks and consume while floating in the water. Sea otters will utilize their sensitive whiskers to identify small animals hidden inside crevices, and they use their strong forepaws to dig for clams when they are foraging for food. Sea otters have also been known to dive as deep as 250 feet on occasion. Keep in mind that the sea otter maintains its body temperature thanks to its rapid metabolism. Because it eats so much food, it is able to keep its internal temperature at a steady 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 8. Otters can hold their breath longer than you. Do not pit otters against an average human in a contest of breath holding. The lung capacity of an otter is approximately 2.5 times bigger than the land mammals of comparable size. It has been documented that sea otters can remain submerged for longer than 5 minutes at a time. Otters of the river, on the other hand, have the ability to hold their breath for up to 8 minutes. Otters have a better chance of detecting prey and finding food thanks to the lengthened periods of time they spend submerged. Another neat fact pertaining to the depths they swim is that the sea otter is the only marine animal that is capable of flipping over stones that are located on the sea floor, in this case to search for food. In addition, it is the only marine mammal that uses its forepaws rather than its mouth to capture fish. Number 9. Otters may look soft and cuddly, but they are dangerous wild animals. Otters have a forceful bite thanks to those robust teeth. Therefore, regardless of whether you observe an otter on land or in the water, make sure to keep a safe distance from them of at least 5 kayak lengths, which is equal to around 60 feet. If an otter spots you, it's probably because you're getting too close to their territory. No matter how adorable they may appear, humans should never get close to a sea otter. In the event you do come across a wild sea otter, make sure to keep your distance from it even if it comes up to you. Because the sea otter is a wild animal, keeping a safe distance is the best way to ensure both your safety and the otter's safety. That brings me to number 10, which I think is one of the coolest facts. A group of resting otters is called a raft. Otters enjoy huddling for their slumber. The researchers have witnessed groups of more than 1,000 sea otters drifting together. Sea otters will envelop themselves in seaweed and build a structure that is similar to a raft in order to prevent themselves from becoming separated. They will also hold hands when they are sleeping in order to maintain that close proximity to one another. I hope you enjoyed all these fun facts about the cute sea otter. Now go spread the word, and I'll see you in the next video.